somebody actually followed me to the toilet and tried to take a video or a photo of me.
Like on top like that.
Yeah.
Oh
Shit.
my god. Is your boss a nightmare and you have no one to turn to? This is your daily catch-up. Hey guys, if you're enjoying the Daily Catch-Up podcast, do remember to drop us a sub, hit that notification button and like this video. So today we have a very special guest. She's a colleague of ours. She's an account manager here at Gravity Media, and the reason why we wanted to bring her on is because she has a story to share, which is quite related to, it's very related to the topic of the day, which is about sexual harassment. So thank you so much, Raining, for joining us today.
No worries.
It's a bit somber because it's quite a serious topic lah. So it's like a bit weird to suddenly say woo. But thank you so much for being comfortable enough to come onto the show.
Okay, now you're just making it weird. Okay.
Moving on.
Yeah.
So just the other day, CNA Lifestyle posted an article about sexual harassment in the workplace and how to spot red flags. Because I think it's quite difficult to really know, right? It's very grey. It's like, is this really sexual harassment? Am I overthinking it? And then no one really ends up reporting
Wait, so
it.
red flags as in how do I know that I'm being sexually harassed?
Whoa, what happened?
Yeah. What happened to your England? I don't know. No, I think the point is that it's more common than we think.
Right.
But if you feel uncomfortable but also don't want to be seen as overthinking, then how do you know for sure if it's something that you should report or not? Yeah, because it's very ambiguous. Unlike clear cut, you never get paid on time, That's very objective, that's very clear cut.
What are some, we're trying to identify red flags lah.
Yeah. Okay, have you been sexually harassed?
Or feel like
I
you've
don't
been sexually
undermine
harassed.
you.
I feel like I might have sexually harassed people.
Yeah, I also feel like
Do tell.
Low key.
Okay.
Cause back in my previous company, we have these big parties and all that, right? And it's a very young culture, similar to this company, right?
But you never sexually harassed.
Yeah, but I never sexually harassed anybody yet.
See where things slowly start inching away from you.
Yeah, but then because the company culture is so relaxed, right? When you have parties, everybody drinking, then get high already. Sometimes
no.
I'm like a hugger when I'm high.
Oh no.
Ah, interesting.
We've never seen that side of you.
Yeah, but I stopped drinking already, so
You also stop hugging, huh?
yeah.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, so then there are times where people will film me they purposely they know that I high already, right? Then they because I'm
How
very
many drink does it take?
I cannot tell you.
Is it like two only?
But they all know that of me. So once I get high, then they'll kind of
Avoid you?
take
No.
hug, take a picture, that kind of thing. Cause when I'm not high at work, right, I'm the no physical contact. I don't like physical contact.
Yeah, I feel like we've
Yeah.
never seen that other side of John
Yeah.
at all.
But yeah, so then like that, how? Anybody can suddenly just say the next day, hey, I think he touched me, wow, I die. Someone got evidence.
Someone now is seen on video.
Then later all the videos start coming
there's
out.
like-
about you.
But that's not a red
my
flag, right? I mean, that's not a red flag, right?
But what if it's something like John Paul say I want to talk to you, then I just hey, then I touch your shoulder for 5 seconds, right? But that makes you feel uncomfortable. But to me, that's normal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or I smell your hair.
Yeah, so then I accidentally sexually harass you.
I feel like my general rule is just don't touch people. You know what I mean?
Good rule.
Yeah, no, and I really believe that all the way. I think until I was until I was 18, right? I was still hover hand. Even my own girlfriend, I was still hover hand. You know when you take photo,
Okay, yeah.
you just hover hand.
Is it because you got sweaty palm?
No, cause just damn scared to touch them. In case they go, hey, molest. Then I'm like, hey, no, I'm just taking a photo of you.
So in poly, right, during presentation, right, one of the girls, right, her button basically pop open, you can see her bra there.
Right.
And all the guys on it. What the fuck is going on? So when she done the presentation, she walked back. I just whisper to her, then she adjust lah. But I'm not a chicope in this situation. Right?
That's the
They are
steady,
chicope.
right?
I think I have a similar experience also that I was wearing jeans, right? And somehow the jeans, the zip, right, was faulty. And so I didn't know that it was unzipped. And actually a guy friend who was sitting beside me, right, actually told me that my jeans,
Yeah.
the zip was unzipped lah. So then I was just I didn't think that it was not okay, but actually I was more thankful that he actually pointed it out to me.
There's a way to do it one. You tell the girl but you don't look at it. So if it's your fly, right, I'll be like, then you never zip. But I look there.
Confused.
But then you would have had to look at my. You would have had to look at my. fly
But I
too.
won't watch you do it. I won't watch you react to it.
Yeah.
Just in case you. So there's that certainty of, did he see the Doraemon?
Fair.
Did he see the Doraemon?
Yeah.
I wonder whether a red flag is if, say, for example, someone talking to you, right, like your colleague or what, then they come to you and they start touching you, or when they laugh, right, then they put their hand on your shoulder, this kind of thing. Is that considered a red flag?
You got this dude right in our previous office.
Oh my god, he massages everybody.
Hey, you went too far! You went too far! You went too far.
I'm sorry.
Oh shit. No, I feel like every office has that one guy.
That massage.
No, but
that
he's
extra.
friendly.
He's so
guy,
nice, you know.
He's very nice.
He's
Yeah.
really very nice.
And the weird part is that you can tell that everyone's uncomfortable about it because they go like, "Oh, hi. Oh, what?" Then he's just like, "Hey, how you doing?"
And you want to ask him to stop, but his massage skills actually quite top notch. Shit, I'm gonna enjoy this for 10 seconds before I tell you to go away.
But so on that note, right, then how do I know whether like a guy is just being nice? Like for example, if I'm close to towards my closer friends, I'm also maybe a lot more touchy.
Yeah.
Right? But then like to other people they know that I'm not.
Yeah.
So then how do they know whether I'm just being nice to them?
Oh, you're
Yeah.
just being fair to everybody, equality.
Yeah.
I touch
So
one,
I-
I touch all.
It's like Chandler like just kissing everybody.
I feel like if the person is your colleague, like your peer, you should attempt to talk to him if you don't like it, right? I think the problem comes in when what if it's your boss or your superior.
Yeah. And
Then
it
it's
might
a
affect-
little bit harder because you might enjoy a closer relationship with your boss, but not that close, and you don't want to have to say something to like create that wedge. I don't even follow colleagues unless they follow me first, so I also don't know whether it's stuck up.
Wait, on socials lah, not like follow randomly.
Influencer.
No, I sometimes follow them home.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, no, I don't know whether they think because like, I stuck up there, I don't care about you, so I don't follow you, I don't want to see the stupid pictures you post. As in, I saw you all on social media before, especially when colleagues take picture and then you tag each other, right? And so I actually would naturally just want to follow because my colleague ma. Yeah. But then I very scared, what if you want to draw that line between work and personal and then you don't want me to see you take picture of your mom? Right? Then I don't want you to have to like, mute me in your stories if you're ranting about work.
Yeah.
I just don't until you follow me first. Which, I don't know.
So I think like according to the article, there's quite clear cut like red flags. So like some of it is like inappropriate physical contact, flashing, like requesting for like intimate favors. But in the article as well, like so Singapore's counselling centre, their chief well-being officer, like he basically mentioned about certain red flags that people tend to overlook because they're a lot more ambiguous. But it's definitely something that you should be aware of and like I think address lah, which is that if there's constant intrusion of personal space, so like someone like intentionally sitting uncomfortably close to you. That seems quite ambiguous. Accidental brushes that cause you to feel uncomfortable, and I think demeaning jokes that are made about like women in general, or like specific women in the office. So like I think there were like cases of another company where like someone felt harassed because they kept mentioning that like, oh, you're a tall blonde, for example, and they kept like talking about her features in that way. And even though it may seem harmless because she really is a tall blonde, like if you're uncomfortable about it, like address it lah. Essentially.
Right. Sorry, so like, I think you all know about her story already, right? But I
Half.
don't- Oh, okay. I totally don't know, but
I
I'm
also
quite curious.
totally don't know.
Yeah, can you maybe share like what was your story?
So the incident actually happened when I was 17 years old, when I was actually working as a relief teacher at a primary school.
So someone touched you.
No, somebody didn't touch me, but somebody actually followed me to the toilet and tried to take a video or a photo of me when I was in the staff toilet alone.
A
Oi.
student or
It happened in the general office. So we later found out that it was actually a IT technician that was actually working in the general office itself. So I was actually 2 weeks into the job, right?
Yeah.
I barely spoke to him. The only time that I interacted with him, right, was actually on my first day at work, where
Right.
he had to gather all like my personal details, so he knows where I live, like my
Yeah.
IC number,
Oh my
etc.
God.
Because he had to register me into the school system itself.
okay.
So that was like my only interaction with him. And
Right.
after that, right, like zero interaction really.
So that's why you say there's like no red flags and all that lah.
Yeah.
How do you catch him?
I see a phone
Right.
like located at like the
Like on top like that.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh my
shit.
god.
What was your first reaction?
I was actually very stunned because I didn't know how to react, and I was actually intending like, oh my god, can I curse since I'm in school now?
Right. Oh, that was your first one.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, can I say like WTF, or should I like just tone it down a little bit and say, what the hell? So I actually went with like, what the hell? And then the person was just like
I
stunned
can't
there.
believe you had this
Yeah.
entire thought process.
yeah.
Because I didn't know, like, I was like, is it like my fellow like relief teachers like pranking me, etc. But then I was like,
Prank?
I was like, that's like too much, so it's not
Yeah.
possible. Then I was like, oh my god, shit is real. Like somebody
Yeah.
is actually trying to take a video and a photo of me.
At that point, you already sat down on the toilet, is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was already like, in the midst of doing it already.
So how do you catch him?
Yeah. So after you say like what the hell, right?
Yeah.
Then
He ran out.
Run.
Yeah, I said what? So he stood there, I think like for a good like 30 to 40 seconds, right?
Before he got caught lah.
No, before he left the toilet. So we didn't catch him immediately. I went back to the main reception area and I spoke to like a staff about it. And when I was at the main reception area, I actually made eye contact with the perpetrator, and I didn't know that it was him back then. But he was very sus about it. Cause the moment he saw me, right, he was like,
Yo, I actually have this exact thing happen to me. This is very hard to believe.
No, we must believe men also. Men.
Yeah, you must believe, man. Cause me three. I was in secondary school also. Then I still wearing school uniform. I remember I using
Sony Ericsson.
MRT toilet. And I remember I think I was using the no toilet bowl one, the squat one, you know. I was peeing and I was like feeling my dick, right? And then some guy camera don't know came on top and bottom. I straight away shout and I tried to grab the fella's hand lah. He didn't run When I got the thing right, he tried and hide his phone right, but he didn't run. And so I went out and I straight away called the whatever MRT security people, right? And then they came over and then he said that this boy is jacking off in the toilet. So I want to video and tell y'all.
Huh?
Yeah, that was his story. So anyway,
What were you?
no lah, of course not lah. What the heck?
But you just said you were fiddling with your dick, right?
I think I remember what I was feeling because I think my phone almost dropped. I was using my phone and I think my phone almost dropped, and so I had to like, you know, when you pee you still must use phone because we are a very connected generation.
I was actually very terrified of like grabbing the phone, cause like, I don't know like who's the perpetrator, right? And I'm like alone in the toilet.
Right.
So if like anything happened to me,
Yeah,
nobody
I guess it's a little bit different for you also because like you are a young lady in a new place whereby even though you are a teacher, you are like you are the kid teacher, you know, so that you're a lot more intimidated by your surrounding.
But did it affect you in any way, like mentally, emotionally?
I think the moment it happened, right, I felt very exposed and humiliated.
Yeah.
And I think on top of like feeling very, very angry, I also blame myself for
Ayo.
what happened. I was like thinking, oh my god, is it like, did I like smile at him?
Or like give him any mixed signals. Or
Right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Or like, is it the way I dress? So I understand like these are like concerns that other victims of like sexual harassment they often feel also. And back then I didn't know like why people would feel that way, right? Until I was like put in that spot myself, and I really understand like why they say that. So I was actually very, very scared also. I was very, very fearful that people will not believe what happened to me.
Oh wait, so what happened to the guy?
The school terminated the contract with him on the day itself.
Okay.
And he was jailed for 3 weeks only.
Right.
Mm.
But you never see him again lah.
No, I think he was charged for criminal trespass, and then like a second consideration was like outreach of modesty.
Right.
Mm.
But so I'm wondering, right, maybe in a sense because it might have been easier in a sense because this guy was not in a position of power. Like imagine if it were like your principal or something that did it to you, right? Then like what he mentioned about how often it's senior to junior and there's that power imbalance and all that, right? So then in that case, then who didn't even feel safe to go to? Like if it's the highest power that is harassing you. Then what?
I mean, this was a very clear-cut case, right? But if you look at it, there's so many barriers. The first one is that people are not sure whether something is sexual harassment or not. Then from then on, if you're someone that is your boss or your senior, do you even feel safe to report it to?
Yeah.
And if you do, who do you report it to?
Yeah.
There's like all these barriers in that sense.
I mean, imagining in a workplace scenario, probably first person you go to is HR. But then if it's your boss, then can I trust HR because HR works for my boss also, right?
Yeah. And I think the other issue also, and it's bringing back to like you sharing that story, right, is that a lot of sexual harassment cases tend to be on women, and there's a lot of sympathy towards women, and rightly so. But men also who suffer from sexual harassment kind of feel ashamed for sharing it because they feel like it's a women-centric like issue. And so I think there's so many nuances in like sexual harassment that I think doesn't get talked about, doesn't get addressed. So I think like you rightly pointed out, I think a lot of people are afraid to go to HR. So like who can you actually go to, right? I think the first step is that if it's a criminal offense and it's very clear cut like yours, right? go to your boss, go to your principal, but also go to the police lah, because I think it's a criminal offense. But when it comes to ambiguous like things like that, and you're not sure and you're looking for advice, right? Actually, avenue that not a lot of people know is available to them is actually the unions. And it's actually a good time to bring up the fact that this episode is brought to you by NTUC. And the reason... Shout outs! And I know it's a little bit like it's sponsored and we're talking about the unions, right? But it's actually very interesting because there's quite a lot of benefits that even I myself and when I was sharing with the team, like we didn't know was available to us as workers. And this is available to you either if you sign up as an individual to the union or if your organization is unionized. So
do I have a union?
Like a lot of people have unions. So like we have the media professional
so many
unions.
people think that unions are for like mostly blue collar stuff or professions. No, but usual PMEs, accountants, media professionals, they all have their own.
Yeah. Unions. If you guys aren't sure what PMEs are, basically professionals, managers and executives. So people who are in white collar jobs, you go to an office, there's a union for you as well. Yeah. So not just for sexual harassment cases, right? I know we're talking about sexual harassment, but I think for even cases of like workplace grievances. So like if you find that you have like a bully, a boss who is a bully, I think we know a very prominent recent example of that. That counts as workplace grievance. And if you're unsure whether there's anything you can do, you can actually go to the union and they will give you advice about it.
Right.
So I've been working, as a company, I've been working at NTUC for a long time. I mean, like with like Vulcan Post content and all that stuff, right? And so I would like to think I know an unusual amount of stuff about the union.
More than the lay person.
And it's actually quite interesting because you're thinking, what can you do, right? We have this mindset that, I hear this a lot, especially when I try and tell my own friends about NTUC as a union, right? And then they always say that the union has no teeth. Because when's the last time Singapore went on strike? Or any organization went on strike? But then the point was that many of these strikes were avoided because NTUC could step in and create like a win-win situation. Yeah. One of the things you could do, for example, if let's say relating to the NOC saga, right? Not encouraging whatever, right? But as an example, if you feel unhappy and the source of it comes from your bosses, then how? And it's not like easy for you to quit or find job, very easy to say, right? You can actually go to NTUC where they could send a representative to speak to your boss. They could mediate. Yeah. And if let's say you come to the conclusion that this is not the right workplace to be in, they can help you, train you to find another job. Yeah. Or help you, even place you in another job. Or if let's say there's a dispute between you and your employer, whereby your employer kind of hold all the cards, right? Can you imagine if you think you want a student, the fella want to counter student, the fella got more money, whatever money you have is that fella decide whether they can give you one. Yeah. So they can literally resource trap you, right? NTUC has also armed people legally and go to court with people before. Yeah. Right. Which is very assuring to know lah, I feel.
Yeah, exactly. So the process usually is that if there's any like disputes that you find at work, so it could be workplace grievances, but it could be like things like late payments of salary. It could be that maybe there was a wrongful dismissal, or like you feel like there was workplace discrimination. NTUC can help you mediate. They can represent you to your boss just to talk things out and negotiate. But if things escalate and go to the labor court, right, they can provide you with legal representation also. So if you feel like your company is like resource arm, like strong arming you, right, that's where you can head to the union lah.
I mean, on the topic of like workplace grievances, I think like what you mentioned just now about being stuck in a job, right? I think if I'm not wrong, Wei Ning has shared something like that with me before about her previous place.
Poor thing your life. I'm so sorry.
I got a lot of stories to share.
Sorry, it really seems like we're exploiting you. You're such a valuable guest for today's episode.
So I was working at another PR agency prior to joining like Gravity, right? I was kind of unhappy towards the last month.
But it was difficult for you to leave.
Yeah, it was difficult to leave because I wasn't sure of like my rights, and I told you that I didn't know whether I could like leave immediately because I had to pay a certain amount.
Right.
Yeah. So the notice period was actually 1 month. So if I want to leave immediately, right, I have to pay my
like
pay.
compensate them for the 1 month.
Right.
Oh yeah, okay. That's quite standard.
Yeah. So but it's like I was telling her, not everyone has the kind of like financial capability to like, you know, just throw that notice period, that pay, and leave immediately. So
what were the grounds of the reason why you wanted to leave?
I felt very unappreciated towards like the last few months. I feel very unappreciated and felt like I was kind of exploited for what they want me to do for the company.
So in the end, did you pay?
Yeah, what was the outcome?
So my boss and I kind of like talk
Negotiate,
it out.
Yeah.
And then like I'm not sure what happened after that, but she
Wait.
kind of like let us leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, without paying.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's fairly common because everywhere you have to serve the 1 month notice one is to give your employer time to find a headcount to replace you. If not,
Yeah.
you can just hold the organization hostage. And for me as an employer, it doesn't. The moment your heart is not here, right? I feel like okay lah, you zhao lor. Because if you stay, you're gonna do more damage to the organization.
Yeah.
Perhaps you
Yeah.
turn it toxic or you don't care. We start losing accounts for the last month.
So,
What about like contract stuff? Like, so for example, like when I freelance, right? So I've been thinking about like, because I don't have a contract made. Because most of my jobs that comes from like my friend's company, that kind of stuff that I feel like I trust the person, I don't need to do a contract. But then after that, when I try to submit my invoice and all that, right, then the payment, everything gets dragged out, or they start asking me to do extra stuff for them, and then like it's very hard for me to like charge them for like one small thing and all that. So
because there's no scope that was drawn out.
there's no scope that was drawn up. So then I've been thinking of like getting a contract made also. I don't know whether you have experienced like similar dilemmas.
Yeah. So I think I had some issues with my first contract ever when I got my first full-time job. When the contract was drafted, right, there were certain clauses that I didn't agree with lah. I couldn't accept. Things like 24-month non-compete clauses and stuff like that, which I don't make sense, you know. Like only like very high-ranking people in an organization, then they kena, and it's also not 24-month. Right? Like those were like funny things that I had to go and figure out on my own. So what I did was that I got a lawyer friend to look through the contract for me.
Oh.
Yeah.
So actually, very shag. Everybody has this lawyer friend that they have to like just go and do this type of thing. I'm very sian. If I'm the lawyer friend now,
Yeah.
I'll be like, shut the fuck up lah.
In my group of friends, we have that one lawyer friend. We go to him not just for like contracts or whatever, right? Like for English. Like we just want to like check our resume, right? Then he will like rewrite everything for us, like solid. Speaking about contract disputes or like being unsure of a contract, right? If you're actually part of the union, bringing this back to a plug, and I also just found out that workplace advisory also includes helping you vet through contracts also. So they can actually do that for you, yeah.
They can be your lawyer friend.
If you are part of the union, which you pay a very nominal fee for.
All the lawyer friends are cheering now.
Yeah. Wait, how much is the fee? Is there
Less than $20 a month.
a month?
Yeah.
Oh.
I have it in a day rate.
No lah, but it's not just that Like you get your link points discount, you get those members only promotion.
is
thing.
it?
Like last time I
like the
Nibo.
whole NTUC
It's like-
thing is
Yeah, most people do join it for the NTUC points, but what they don't know is they have access to all these other things.
Correct.
Oh.
Correct. But I think what's quite interesting is that you talk about the employers and the unions, right? Because the employers and the union have such a wide-ranging relationship with so many companies, right? They actually know like if this company is looking for someone or not, and that's how they help with placement.
Yeah.
So like if you actually are looking for someone, if you are an unemployed person who is looking to get into a certain industry, that's how the union can help you.
Right.
Because they have all these relationships. So I think at the end of the day, like the most important thing is to go and find out whether you have a union, because most people actually have unions, but you just don't realize it.
Yeah.
And so it's a great way to get like workplace advice if you need to. There's also protection. So if you ever need to like arm yourself legally, they can represent you if it ever escalates to like the labor court.
Yeah.
But hopefully it doesn't. And also they get to tell you about your rights lah. So if you didn't know, for example, under the Employment Act, you're supposed to get a certain minimum amount of like medical leave. Your employer has to pay you by a certain date. And so if you have any problems like that, you have this avenue to go to. This is a very strange one as well, and I just found out upon doing research, right? You know, if you're part of the union, there's free legal clinics that you can go to talk about even non-workplace legal issues. So like if you have a traffic offense, right, and you don't know what to do, you can literally go to them and say, hey, like I got this.
Don't be so rude lah.
Don't be so rude.
Say
Just
good morning,
Mr.
sir.
Union person or Miss Union person. I kena this traffic offense. Like, can you what can I do, right?
This union person.
Whatever their name is lah.
Captain Unions.
Captain Union. Will writing, even like they can give you free legal advice. So besides workplace protection and advisory, they can also ensure your progression. So they actually top up right up to $500 in terms of training subsidies. This is on top of your skills future credits. So if you need to like upskill yourself, do check that out. Last thing. So if there is a particular industry that you really want to get into, NTUC has relationships with like so many different industries. I think there's like 60 sectors altogether, and you can imagine how many companies
there's
are
60
under these
sectors,
sectors, right? So they can also help you with that, and also with things like resume writing. If you haven't written your resume in like 30 years, right? Do check that out. There's more information in the link below. Do check it out. Thanks so much, Wei Ning, for sharing really, really personal stories. Thank you so much. Really happy that. High five.
Later counted as harassment.
That's true.
That's fair enough. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Do remember to drop us a sub and a like if you enjoyed what you watched. We'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.
Adios.